is up, everybody? This is Julian, or you can call me JP, and today I'm here to talk about how to gain weight, how to lose weight when it comes to how many calories you need to eat, and how you can calculate how many calories you burn in a day. Again, there's a lot of calculators out there online. There's a lot of just websites that do it. You may have seen something in a book, but again, I'm going to try to give you some accurate and reliable ones that you can use, you can give to a friend, anything that'll help you out. Okay, again, to start off, the three ways that people burn calories are resting metabolic rate, physical activity, and the thermogenic effect of food. The first one, resting metabolic rate, are the calories, the energy that we expel or use at rest. For example, if you were to just lay down on a bed, not do nothing, just lay there all day, how many calories, and hypothetically, you don't eat any food, obviously you're not going to do that, but if you didn't eat any food, how many calories you would burn basically doing that, doing nothing at all. That accounts for approximately 65 to 70% of the calories that we burn throughout the day. So resting metabolic rate is the largest caloric expenditure that anybody does. No amount of physical activity is going to be higher than that. So again, resting metabolic rate is how many calories we burn at rest, and that's the most calories that we use throughout the day. So most of our calories are used up just basically what we do at rest, like what it takes for our body, for our brain to function, for our heart to function, for our cardiovascular system to work, for our muscles to simply just exist, for us to generate heat, to live, to not be too cold, just to do normal bodily processes. Number two is physical activity. Again, that can be 15, 20 to 30% of our calories that we expend, of our caloric expenditure that we spend throughout the day. So again, that's a lot less than resting metabolic rate. So that's another reason why, again, you're not going to be able to run and burn off 1,500 calories in a day. Get that out of your head. That's not reasonable. It's not going to happen. So physical activity, again, can be up to 30%, and is a big portion of what we do throughout our day. So I would definitely never count that out. Working out, doing stuff like that can definitely burn a lot of calories and help us, lose weight, gain weight, whatever we need to do. And the third one is thermogenic effect of food. This one is a lot less known. The first two are more known. But the thermogenic effect of food is when you eat simple foods like simple carbohydrates, things like that, simple fats, our body doesn't need to utilize that much energy to break it down. So it doesn't take that many calories for our body to break it down. But if you eat more complex foods, more complex carbs, things like that, like complex carbohydrate, polysaccharides, our body takes more energy to break those down, to use them. So again, depending on what type of foods you eat, approximately 10 to 15% of calories up to can come from certain types of foods we eat. So if you're eating soda, drinking soda, eating, like processed foods, just like crappy white bread, things like that, our body is not going to take that much energy to digest it, and that's going to reduce the amount of calories that you burn in a day. So quick recap: resting metabolic rate, what we burn at rest; physical activity, that's like exercise; and what type of foods we eat. More complex foods burn more calories. Now, out of those three, knowing that, you may say, well, how many calories do I burn? What can I use to determine that? The simple, which I would not go with, I'm just giving you this in case you don't want to watch me ramble on, or you fucking tired of me talking, or you don't want to watch a long ass video, is 2,400 calories for males and 2,000 calories for females. This is for a sedentary adult. Again, sedentary means someone who doesn't do much. You don't do that much exercise. You're sitting most of the day. You're laying down. You're not doing too much exercise. Again, that's 2,400 calories for males, 2,000 for females. I would not go with that, though. That's just for someone who doesn't want to listen to me. They just want to get a quick answer. The reason why is because everyone's different. You may think that you're not doing that much exercise or activity, but if you're a construction worker, again, that's going to obviously make you burn a lot more calories than someone who's just sitting down. Also, you could just be a relatively large individual, or if you have good genetics and you tend to hold more muscle mass, you might be higher than that. Or you might be less than that. You never know. If you're a small male who doesn't have much muscle on them, you may be only burning 2,000 calories in a day. And if you go by this, you may gain weight if you eat 2,400 in a day. Now, again, that's a simple equation. Now, for athletes, this is like you're someone who works out all the time, you're generally working out, or you actually play a sport, you do something of the sort. You are anything that's more active, you're an active individual. depending on how active you are, I'll give you a short equation that you can do, a very, very short equation that you can calculate how many calories that you burn. For males, it's okay, let's start with this light activity. Light activity, and by light, I mean like if you're someone who's on your feet most of the day, not in no weightlifting or anything like that, you walk here and there, you're an adult who walks for exercise, you're a waiter, you work at a retail or something and you're on your feet, or you like a mechanic, you're not lifting too much heavy stuff, maybe you're a mechanic that does, but you lift some certain things, or you're just you're on your feet, it's light activity, and maybe you have some light exercise, a little exercise, not nothing crazy. For men, it's 17 calories per pound. For females, it's 16 calories per pound. Again, so just multiply 17 or 16, depending on male or female, times how much you weigh in pounds. Medium activity, again, this is where you start to get to exercise. You're exercising to nothing to elite levels, but you are exercising a relatively good, maybe some general weightlifting combined with a moderate active job, or let's just say you don't exercise, but you are in a very active job, like you're a construction worker or you're doing something of the sort that's extremely active. Then for men, it's 19 calories per pound, and for women, it's 17 calories per pound. Again, just multiply it, you get the calories. Now heavy, this is where someone who's like, okay, if you're a bodybuilder, you're a football player, even if high school, or if you're in the NFL or anything like that, if you're just doing some heavy work, or even if it's a really heavy job, like you're in the military or something, I would recommend, and obviously the military, they sometimes are not allowed to eat certain times, but when they have the control of what they can eat, heavy work, 23 calories per pound for men and 20 calories per pound for females. Again, that's heavy work, that's a high athlete. If you're a wrestler, if you're a football player, things like that, soccer player, a bodybuilder, or even if you're just someone who weightlifts a lot, I would do those. 23 calories for men, 20 calories for females. Now, I'll write these next two equations, I'll write down on the bottom because I have shitty ass writing and you might not see it, but these equations are just equations that calculate the first one I talked about over here, your resting metabolic rate. So these two calories do not calculate physical activity. You can go to another website, find a website online, they probably have a few of them, to find out how much calories certain activities do. Again, I don't know what activities you're doing, whoever's watching this, so I can't write all activities on this whiteboard. This whiteboard's not very big, but so you can go to some type of website. Let's just say you're like, okay, well, this calculates resting metabolic rate, but I also weightlift. Then if you type in how much weightlifting you do, the intensity, obviously the duration, the frequency, and then it'll give you it'll tell you how many calories you burn during that activity, and then you can tack it on the rest, what you get from this equation, and then it'll give you your overall caloric expenditure right there. But these two equations, again, they're just for resting metabolic rate. So these are not what you burn in a day. These are what you burn at rest. The first one is the lean mass equation, and this calculates fat-free mass. So if you know your body fat percentage, you have to know your body fat percentage for this equation, then this is extremely accurate. Again, this is better for athletes, people with more muscle mass, weightlifters, than this second equation that I'm about to show you, because the second equation may say that it may give you a number too low if you're an athlete. So if you're an athlete, use this equation right here. The equation is 21.6 times fat-free mass in kilograms. So for example, to get fat-free mass in kilograms, you would, let's just say you're 10% body fat and you weigh 200 pounds. 10% of 200 pounds would be 20 pounds. That means you weigh 180 pounds of lean mass, of fat-free mass. You divide 180 by 2.2, and that's what you're going to get in kilograms. So put that number right there. Again, might have to do a little bit of math, but you can do it. It's 21.6 times fat-free mass in kilograms, and that's in parentheses. Do that first. Then you add 370. That's your resting metabolic rate for whoever uses that equation. Again, you got to add on your physical activity. You can get that at another website. The second equation is if you're more of an average body type, again, or if you're an older individual, this especially works well for older individuals. In my opinion, if you know your fat-free mass, I would always go with the first equation. But if you can't calculate body fat percentage, go with the second one. But again, if you're more muscular, something of the sort, or if you're just a larger individual, then this equation might seem a little off. But for males, it's 66 plus and this is in parentheses, 5 times height plus 13.8 times weight minus 6.8 times age. Again, the weight is in kilograms, and then the height is in centimeters. So again, it's height in centimeters, weight in kilograms. Obviously, you can't see it that well. Again, I have shitty ass writing. I'm going to write that down below. That's for males. For females, it's 655 plus 1.8 times height plus 9.6 times weight minus 4.7 times age. So again, the equations are slightly different for the Harris-Bennedict equation. Again, if you can't calculate body fat percentage, you're gonna have to go with that one, or you can use the table that I give you over here. Okay, so these are all things that you can do to calculate how many calories you want to do, or you use and burn throughout the day. If your goal is to lose or gain weight, obviously to maintain weight, you just eat the amount of calories that you're burning. Now, if your goal is to lose or gain weight, which there is a huge problem with this, especially in women, man, it doesn't matter who it is. I even talked to someone on bodybuilding.com, and they thought that it was okay and good for them to eat 1,200 calories in a day. They weren't diseased. They didn't have anything wrong with them. For anyone who wants to argue and be like, well, they might have had a disease. They didn't have anything wrong with them. They said that they wanted to make gains, and then they told me that they ate 1,200 calories. And after I politely told them that that's too low, they got all defensive and said that I don't know. They just were they're being whiny because they don't want to be wrong. But the point is, don't go too low or too high. And by that, I would recommend, this is what I recommend, you could slightly go outside of this. You might have to be smart about it. And again, you can go out slightly outside of this if you're some elite bodybuilder or a football player and you're trying to manipulate weight. But I would stick to 200 to 500 calorie deficits or increases. So don't go anywhere, don't differentiate your caloric intake by more than that. So for example, if you do one of these equations and then you it ends up telling you that you burn 3,000 calories, I wouldn't eat 2,000 calories to lose weight. That's too much. One, it can be dangerous. You may pass out. You never know. You never know how your body's going to react. Two, if your goal is to lose weight, reducing by that much is not going to help you. It is not going to help you. It's only going to hurt you. If anything, it takes a lot of calories for a body to sustain muscle mass. So if you're trying to lose weight, but you want to keep muscle, and your body says, whoa, this is a big reduction in calories. I can't do this. What can I get rid of? Well, I'm going to get rid of this muscle. It takes too much to sustain. It will do that. So if you want to keep muscle but lose fat, do not reduce that many calories. Like I said, on top of that, you could have some adverse reaction. You could pass out due to, like I said, hypoglycemia. And this reduction in calories is especially bad for people who are doing those diets, which I already did a video on. You can check on my channel below. But on like low carb diets or no carb diets, things like that, I completely disagree with them. You may manipulate carbs, but eating too low calories can have a bad effect. On top of this, eating too much calories. If your goal is to gain muscle and you're just eating whatever, obviously our body can only build muscle so fast. It can. We're not perfect creatures. We don't do things limitlessly. We don't just, oh, you eat 10,000 calories, it all turns into muscle. So what I would recommend is 200 to 500 calories. Again, increasing your diet by 200 to 500 calories. Again, it could either be, I would probably recommend it from carbohydrates or protein. Maybe 200 from both, that's okay. But that's what I would recommend. Again, you may have heard someone say something different. I don't know what they're getting this from. I'm getting this from a combination of my Certified Personal Training Essentials book and the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist Essentials book. So, and plus it's just smarter. Again, you don't want to be fat. You're just trying to gain muscle. There's really no point. I mean, if that's your ultimate goal, doing something outside of this is going to be wrong. Now, the main reason why people go outside of this number, it's two reasons. One, they heard it from somewhere else and then they believe the individual. Maybe the individual's taking steroids. Maybe he's not. Maybe he looks jacked because of genetics, but his diet's not still helping that. So just because someone looks good, don't automatically assume that they're telling the truth. Again, facts are facts, and I have a lot of logic in what I'm saying. So again, 200 to 500 increments. Don't let some type of impatience force you to eat or cut more. People tend to cut a lot right here. Calories, they'll go 1,000 calories deficit and then they lose weight, but guess what? It's not from fat, it's from muscle and it's from glycogen, because water has to combine with carbohydrates to form glycogen in the muscle. So when you lose weight that much faster, you're getting a reduction in calories that fast. A lot of it's just water, glycogen, a little bit of fat, and then a little bit of muscle. When if you do it the slower way that takes more patience, it could be almost all from fat. So again, that's what I would stick to. Again, you can use any of these equations. Don't cut too low. Don't increase too fast. Be patient with it. Losing weight and gaining muscle takes a long time, but it'll be well worth it. It'll be sustainable for you to see that progress in body composition. Again, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Get a friend to watch this video. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to be posting videos weekly. Again, I come up with some good content. If there's anything that you want me to do a video on, post it below. Again, I'd appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. Peace.